Hey guys, welcome back to Fuller Consciousness. My name is Michelle Fuller. Thank you for joining me here. If you haven't subscribed yet, please do so. Please hit the like, please comment, please share. If you want to find out more about me, go to my website. I'm going to link it below, fullerconsciousness.com. I am going to be tackling a subject tonight that is something that, to be honest with you, I have been reluctant about tackling because there are so many nuances to it. And there's nuances to everything, but this particular topic I find to be tricky. I want to talk about Narci-scripts and the ones running them. So, we could use the word narcissism or narcissistic, and this is why I've been reluctant to tackle it, because there are millions of coaches and therapists and people talking about this, and we have been talking about it for a really long time, probably, at least the last decade, I would say. It's really become, if anything, sort of in vogue. And it's vital that this has happened, because this time of transition is all about shining light on the shadows. And so it was necessary. We had to have these conversations. We had to look at this stuff. And many of us, hopefully, use the dialogue to look at ourselves and see if we were running any Narci-scripts, or if we were running Narci-scripts in the past when we were younger. Like, why were we doing that? Where was that coming from? What is the false self? What is not the truth of ourselves? But usually the reason we found the narratives to begin with is because we were navigating someone running Narci-scripts. And so we started Googling or whatever, we started researching, and we started finding this information. And it was like all the boxes were checking and checking and checking. It was like, okay, wow, this is what I'm dealing with. And so this may have been experiences that you navigated within your own family system when you were growing up, your family home. Could have been later in life, a relationship that you had that was like seriously messed up, seriously toxic, and you were trying to figure it out. Maybe a friendship, maybe a colleague or a boss or someone you worked with, or maybe all of the above or some of those. And as we started researching this and started figuring out what was going on with this, we were likely also, on some level, at least for those of you watching this video here, okay, also going through some sort of consciousness expansion, some sort of spiritual awakening, some sort of mind opening, expansion in some way, on some level, okay? And so everything was sort of connected. It was like your spiritual awakening was connected to this. You were starting to see your past with completely different eyes. You started to see yourself completely differently. You started to see the world completely differently. It may have opened your eyes then to the macro, the world stage, the fact that this realm is a Narci system, is inverted, is what is not love, is pretty much all the things that we are not on the other side. And and so then your personal realm, your micro experiences were likely expanded into identifying things going on out there in the macro. And perhaps you were led down rabbit holes and things like that, okay, as you investigated the pathology here, the manipulation here, the lies here, things like that. And it was as within, so without, in terms of a looking at yourself process as well. If you were sincerely on this path, you did that. You were questioning yourself. You were looking at yourself. You were also learning how to access self-compassion for any ways you ever behaved that were not in alignment with the truth of your gorgeous self, your gorgeous source stream. but were born of your own fragmentation and trauma and shame in this realm, etc., things like that. And you kept doing that work, and you kept doing that work. And there was probably or likely also an aspect of your path in which you may have experienced a magnified representation of Narci-scripts and the Narci-System. And by that, I mean, you may have gone through a stage where it was like, sort of like you might have encountered either one really like sort of expanded, advanced, emphasized person running Narci-scripts. It could have just been one, or it could have been like a bunch of them, like in a row. I'm trying to like I sort of consolidate so many different experiences that have been shared with me in my one-on-one personal sessions with my clients as well. Um, but it could have even expanded from there into hyperdimensional experiences, um, targeted individual narratives also feed into this. If you're not familiar with that, you can look it up. I'm not going to go into it here. Um, in my case, I experienced a, on two separate occasions, a couple years in a row, really, um, back in the mid 2000s. So like 2015 through 2017, a couple years in a row. And then again, about a year and a half ago, that lasted a few months, hyperdimensional interactions that were of a very narcissistic, malevolent nature. And and then also actual people that are coming into your realm, running these scripts, running what is not love, running pathology, running inversion. And if you have sincerely been on this path, you know that you were meant to use all of this to identify within yourself anywhere that you were disempowered, any spaces in which you weren't remembering your power, to identify any fears, to identify shame, to identify mother wounds, father wounds, inner child wounds, and use these spaces as lights shining on your unconscious mind so that you could do the inner work. And hopefully you were able to do some of that. You know, this stuff happens in layers, okay? Um, in addition to all of that, it is true that all is mind in this realm. All is mind in this realm. And so this is sort of where I feel at this stage on my path that some spiritual bypassing comes in. I was once of the, I'm going to call it a knowing, because at the time, I truly knew it to be true, that I was creating any sort of narcissistic interactions from my own mind, an external representation of something within me, um, some sort of unresolved energy within me. And while this is true to some extent, because I'll tell you how it's true to some extent. If you're going in deep with these interactions, if you're actually having relationships with others or forces running Narci-scripts, okay, and you're actually in these relationships and you're staying there and you're sort of cycling and trying to figure out how to get out, it is a representation of something within you. It is your mind interacting with those energies, okay? But that said, once you do the work for yourself, you're not the only one here. And I'm saying this emphatically. You're not the only one here. You are part of the one. We are all part of the one. And in that sense, anyone running Narci-scripts is also a reflection of you, because we are all part of the whole. We are all playing our roles, however, that represent the whole. So you are a part of the whole in this human vessel with your mind, and so are others. When we go up high enough, we're all one. We know this. We got this. But I'm talking about our experiences on a human level inside of mental holography, the lower mind here in this realm. You have your mind, I have mine. I have mine. So does Susie Q and Peter G and Theo and Jilly Jane. Everybody has their own minds, their own brains here. And so I'm really emphasizing this because I feel like there is a lot of, let's call it confabulation that goes on in this space. And it's important to emphasize this because if you have done the inner work and you are not surrounded by those running Narci-scripts anymore, okay? But you're still seeing it out there. You're still witnessing the existence of these things, okay, of these scripts and these people running them. It doesn't mean that you're projecting it from your own mind, okay? It's coming through the mental holography of others. And look at the fact that we can still see it in the macro as well on the world stage, right? Like this is a collective experience, right? Now, many of us are aware that it's a stage. Many of us are aware that it is an entire script running its course, okay? And so then we can start arguing, it's not even real and things like that. I don't want to go there with this video, okay? I am speaking to the ones with a capital O, because you are all the one that has navigated a lot of these Narci-scripts and in some way, shape, or form is struggling. You have cleared out your fragmentation, your shame, your guilt, your mental holography created illusions, which is going to be like you're not going to see other people clearly because you're going to project your mind and your heart onto them. So you're going to give the benefit of the doubt, you're going to excuse things, stuff like that. Your illusions, usually based inside of some redemption fantasy, okay? Um, Inner child wounds. Once you've cleared that out, and let's just make the assumption it's even possible in one lifetime to clear all of that out in your mind. Let's say you've cleared it out sufficiently enough that you are clear-eyed in terms of who you are, your power, you trust yourself, your self-worth is on fire, you love yourself, you take care of yourself, you understand healthy boundaries, you understand spiritual sovereignty, you understand what codependency looks like in this realm. You understand on a exalted level of consciousness what love is. And you can see when it's not love here in this realm, but sometimes even portrayed as love. Okay, like distorted versions of love, things like that. Let's say you've done that. Okay. It doesn't mean that you're not going to be encountering Narci-scripts in others because you are not creating the whole world with your mind. There are others here with minds that are running their own mental holography and scripts and are also creating here in this realm. Okay, and then we have the collective mind as well, which is a whole other story. Okay, our collective consciousness, what we're creating together based on what we perceive as true or what we believe as true or what we give our energy to or our emotions to. Okay, and this is a big challenge in terms of all the stories that are always unfurling on the world stage and everybody's putting their emotions into it and their energy into it. And it's like in the Hunger Games when Gal says to Katniss, what if we all just stopped watching? Because your creator energy is being siphoned to create a specific outcome through what you're told is a potential outcome. Okay. It's the same when we are navigating on a personal level, those that are running Narci-scripts. You have to be very clear about what is you, who is you, and what is not, so that you don't get sucked into, siphoned into the illusions, the delusions of another, and end up being their sort of puppet, their prop in their mind fantasy world. And then before you know it, you've sort of got sucked into what everything that is not you and what you would not create for yourself. And there can be some really unavoidable manipulations in this space. So please don't judge yourself if you did get sucked in some way, or shame yourself. I want to slice through the nonsense shaming around this idea that if you are experiencing any narcissists or those running Narci-scripts in your life, it's something you're creating with your mind. That said, we will experience those running Narci-scripts as initiations. That's what they are. They are initiations for us to better see ourselves. So along this line, let's say everything that you experience is a reflection of you. Yes, absolutely. Even in this case, this is true. Because if you're standing there and you've made it to your heart center, or perhaps you never left your heart center, but you had to get through some mental holography, right? Because we all do here. Everyone is fragmented here. But you stayed in your heart. You stayed inside of loving intentions, okay? And you're standing there, and standing across from you is someone running Narci-scripts, okay? Hardcore Narci-scripts, or maybe, there's a nuance to these things, maybe just some fragile narcissism, okay? Where they're fine most of the time, everything is okay, you can get along. But if there's communication that you need to have, or some sort of boundary that you need to express, then you receive confabulation, gaslighting, rage, things like that. It's more along the lines of fragile narcissism, but the rest of the time they're fine. Just kind of leave them alone and don't, bring anything up. Don't, walk on eggshells and things will be fine. That's sort of another nuance to this. You will, yes, absolutely, you will be seeing a reflection of yourself. But in this case, you'll be seeing a reflection of what you are not. So when we say that everything outside of ourselves is a reflection of our own minds, sometimes it is reflecting what you are not. Okay? Because within your mind, there is the all and the nothing, the beginning and the end, because you come from source. You are a source stream, and you embody all of nature and all of the possible representations of nature here in this realm. But you made choices along the way about which energies you would lead with, didn't you? And so sometimes you are going to be face to face with energies that are not you, not the role that you are playing here in this realm. Okay? There was a potential for it because it was a risk for everyone when we came in here. We knew what this place was. It was a risk for all of us. It was a risk. You knew you'd win, though, and you did. And that brings me to the next piece. Some of the ones running Narci-scripts that are in some way, shape, or form in your realm. Okay, this could be anything. You may have an awareness that you are source homies on the other side. In the case of, let's say romantic relationships, let's go there because that's always a good one. That's always a juicy one, right? That's nice and raw. It gets us going. Um, you might even have memories around being team source together. Perhaps you have memories around coming in together. Okay. Um, I'm not talking the twin flame stuff. Okay. That is not what I'm talking about. So don't take it there. I am talking just about the knowing on some level, whether it is an actual memory or just a knowing in you. Okay. That now some of the ones that you came in with that are just absolutely amazing and beautiful and gorgeous and unconditional love on the other side, they got lost. They, just like you did, knew it was a risk. They came in and they got trapped in the mental holography. They got stuck in the labyrinth from the mind to the heart. They got stuck. There's a lot of traps there. There's a lot of dead ends there. It's tricky business here in this realm, and they got stuck. And you didn't. You didn't. And so there's going to be a lot of grief around that on a human level. There's going to be anger around that on a human level because, you know, what I'm seeing, this is thematics based on all the ones that I work with and support and other observations as well, is that it's coming to a time where it's not just like some Narci-scripts going on behind closed doors. It's actual like actions that these ones that you know are team source for you on the other side are taking against you. It's going to feel like against you, like they'll sabotage things or make things more challenging or do things that really harm you or your children or other family members or whatever it is. Okay. Or maybe they'll blow up your finances or like I've heard so many stories. Okay. Um, and I did the quotes on against you because it's going to feel like that. But what I want to point out to you, and I hope that these words hook in and hit home on some level that feels supportive to you, not like I'm gaslighting you, okay? What I want to point out here is that, like I said, we all knew it was a risk when we came in. And therefore, we also knew that some of us would end up running the Narci scripts and bringing the message about who we are to the ones you who made it through, who did not get sucked into the shame mental holography, because that's what it all is. At the basis, it's shame. They couldn't get through it and they created a false self. And you know how the story goes. So ultimately, they're still playing a very important role because they are bringing you the message of the shadows here, the traumas here. Okay. You get to choose to stay in your role that you have accepted for yourself through all that hard work, all that sincerity, all that integrity. Okay. And you get to respond to them as benefits. Okay, because this is a game here. At the end, we're all going to go back and we're going to remember who we all are and we're going to sing Kumbaya. It's going to be fine. You need to respond to what they are bringing you because we are here to overlay what is not love with what is love. This is going to mean a tremendous amount of emotional and spiritual maturity for you. This doesn't mean that you go at anyone or anything with inner child energy. This doesn't mean you start lighting candles and cursing people or I'm going to send you your karma. This means you stay in alignment with your gorgeous source stream and you lead in alignment with the truth of yourself and whatever that looks like for you, okay? Um, you're going to know. You're going to know. And if you need assistance with this, book a one-on-one with me. The other aspect of this is that they are also showing you the importance of the divine union within. Because especially if this happened inside of a romantic relationship scenario, a partnership, a marriage, whatever, okay? It's pointing you to inner alchemy, the divine union within, the union of your masculine and feminine principles, which is ascension. It is the integration of the cohesiveness of your source stream. And if you were just in a space of feeling like you need someone else to support you, feeling like you need someone else to be certain things so that you could feel okay here or feel comfortable here or whatever, you never would have had the opportunity to do the inner alchemy work to access the divine union within, which is what we are doing here. Okay. Um, so there's that piece as well. There's that piece as well. Now, there are some relationships, I work with a couple couples right now like this. I work with them individually, okay? But they are laying blueprints where they both actually did make it through the holography, the shame holography. They're not running any more amount of Narci-scripts that we all might be running when we're trying to navigate relationships and our inner child energies are coming up, right? But we're using it to look at ourselves and we're using it to do the integration work, okay? The transmutation work. They're laying blueprints, and that is amazing. That is hard as well because it's something that, because it's a blueprint, it's new. It's going to look new. And there's a very slippery slope to engaging in codependency again. Because if you're in a relationship where both people are actually doing the work, it's very easy to abandon the inner alchemy work and instead rely on the realm's version of romantic love, which is codependent, right? So it's very easy to slip into that. So that holds challenges in and of itself. It's a whole other game, right? But for those of you who are either walking this game solo, okay, or for whatever reason you're in a relationship that you are choosing not to leave, but using it as an alchemical backdrop for your work, for your inner work, that is going to be a challenge of another kind, especially if you do know that this is your source homie, your friends on the other side. And things did not go the way your human mind would have preferred. And so this is why we can exalt our perceptual awareness here. We can fly up and look at the whole thing from a bird's eye view perspective and remember that if you are listening to this video and you have any idea what I am talking about, and if this is resonating for you on any level, it is also true that you probably didn't come in here just to experience romantic love. As nice as it is, I'm not, it's fun. It's a lot of fun. But love has been inverted here in this realm as well. If you're able to hook into your knowing of what love is, unconditional love, then you're also going to be looking at romantic love and like, okay, wait, like, what is inverted here? What is codependency here? What is what's the word that I'm looking for? Expectation based in our own unintegrated inner child's needs, things like that. Okay. Um, how am I looking outside of myself to pull in something that will then make me feel whole, right? All of that. Um, so, well, let me say this first. Even marriage itself is just a symbol for the divine union within. That's all it is. It's a symbol for that. Everything is a symbol for the exalted truths, for esoteric truths. Okay. Anyway, you, um, when you fly up and you're that eagle, okay, and you're taking that bird's eye view perspective, you're also remembering that, like, it wasn't going to be easy here, right? And we knew that when we came in, okay? Um, I'm hearing the Coldplay song right now, The Scientist. Nobody said it was easy. Hearing that right now in my mind, so I'm super distracted. It's such a shame for us to part. Okay. Bird's eye view perspective. Remember who the hell you are and what you're doing here. And I'm also giving you such a hug in the space of how challenging it can be because the human experience is very real. Um, I hope that this was helpful on some level. Um, Drop some comments. I want to know how this hit, and I'll be back with more. Okay, lots of love, guys.